Alright, welcome back to Boss, everyone. My window is open, just to give you a heads up. Kiri is sitting in the window. I'm not going to shut it on her. It's a nice day outside. And the trucks outside are making a lot of noise, so bear with it. This is the same day as my earlier too tired to think straight video. The sun is up now, which does wonders for my ability to think. It doesn't, I corrected it 100%, but at least it makes me, gives me some capability of linear thought. I did take the time to do some investigations between rounds here. Several hours ago I played. And I want to relate some of that to you, because I learned a lot about this game. Things that I should have learned right off the bat because they're easy to learn, and things I couldn't easily. The first two are just things when I was exhausted, I went back and I thought I'll look at the first video of this series that I put up just to see where I was at when I started versus where I am now. It's only been, this is only the 12th video, but it feels like we've been at this forever. Not in a bad way. And two things I learned just by watching the first video back that we haven't tried yet. One is when you go in the stores, it often says there's a way to seek special training. We haven't done that yet. Shift and T to seek special training. We should try that at some point. Also, the ability to mix potions. We keep finding these potions that we have no use for, and we're just selling them for like 7 gold. Why aren't we trying to mix them together and see what happens? Maybe we'll generate a really awesome potion or something. You do that with Shift M, I think. So we'll try that this time too. The third thing I learned was by Googling on the internet to see if anybody else had any information about this game. There was a single mini review by a gentleman back in 2011. Aside from seeing that somebody else knew about the game in 2011, was still talking about it to some degree. I learned from him, apparently you can get a sex change in the city for 500 gold. We don't want to do that necessarily, but it's fascinating to know you can in theory, unless our mud bath was that. But that'd be a, if you fell asleep in the mud and woke up as the opposite sex, I think anybody would be upset. I didn't notice that happening, so I don't know where the hell you get that done. Now, the main thing I want to bring up is I went into the folder where we have the FAQ, the FAQ. I've mentioned that before. That's one thing I had read about this game. But there is in there another text file called boss help, which I had dismissed. A lot of games have a help file, and it's a text file, and it's kind of like when you press the question mark, here's the data it loads. So I assumed it would be the same thing. It's not. It is officially the manual for boss. So there is help available to you. If you're playing this game, go in the docs folder. There is boss help. Read it. So here's some of the things I learned, and I'll call it up as necessary. It may take about 5 minutes to get through, but it's worth talking our way through. The first thing I noted, first of all, armor class is not only how hard it is to hit you, in this game at least, maybe in Moria itself, I don't know. But in addition to making it harder for things to hit you, it also lowers the damage you take from enemy monsters. If your armor class is all the way up to 100, you will take 25% less damage from any attack, and I find that fascinating. Didn't know that. It can go, it usually stretches between 0 and 100, they mention. It can go above or below. Below 0, it actually helps monsters to hit you. We would have known that. But, we're doing pretty good. We're up close to 100 already, so we're doing all right. The second thing is that wearing armor also helps lower damage coming in from fire and acid. Didn't know that. Interesting to find out. There was a reference to Demagnetize. They mentioned the fact that if you can, in the section in the help on cursed items, it mentions that if you get them attached, you won't be able to unattach them until you demagnetize them. Now, we have seen, of course, the floppy disk of unstick, but I'm wondering if Demagnetize, that spell we learned, is not something you use against robots. It's just something that takes away curses in your backpack. So I'm thinking that's what that is. It did mention at one point that if you're using only your fists, you do get 2 attacks. We've seen that in action. Earlier we were operating without our katana when we were fighting Zamfir or something, and we saw we got 2 attacks off. So if you're using only your fists, you do get 2 attacks. I thought that was therefore a statement that you don't get more attacks with other weapons. Later on, that's contradicted, though, by something that mentions that if your strength and dexterity are high enough and using light enough weapon, you'll get multiple attacks. Now, our strength and dexterity are quite high as far as I can tell. At least in context of any other Moria game I've ever played, and we're still not getting 2 attacks with this katana, so I don't know. Or if we are, it's not stating it overtly. So I don't know what to say about that. But maybe you can get multiple attacks with strength and dexterity like in normal Moria. I don't know. I don't know why I wrote down this. Several of the notes I wrote down make no sense to me. I have boss info. Yeah, well, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Power outs, question mark. They do mention that if you get a power outage, they did mention that if you lose your save game to a power outage, that there are people online that, you know, there were people back in the day that you could go to and talk to, and they would help you with, I think that was, tell you more about boss, and also tell you how to restore your character. The one thing that makes me nervous there is, of course, I mentioned there was a power outage this morning, so we could lose this game at any point. That's one of the things I hate about roguelikes, where your game is destroyed on load up. Don't do that, man. If you want to destroy the game on death, that's fine. I don't give a shit. But don't destroy it on load up, man, because somebody's going to suffer for that, especially in a long game like Moria or even this. There's information on Danny the Dollar. What can I tell you really quickly about him, just because I found it interesting, worth mentioning anecdotally. There is a savings and loan institution in the office building of every town run by Danny Dollar. We know that. Well, Danny is more of a figurehead for the S&L, sort of like Ronald McDonald is for McDonald's. While there's a Danny in every town, no one is sure which town has the real Danny Dollar. In fact, no one even knows whether or not Danny is still working, or if he has retired. So that's kind of neat. We mentioned the fact that he was in every damn bank. I mentioned that in like episode 2 or something, or episode 3. But apparently it's not him. It's just like a guy in clown makeup, or Danny makeup. It also says here about deposits. Danny has a wife, 3 kids, a dog, and employees, so he takes a cut when you deposit, but only then. His rates are displayed upon entering the establishment. To be fair, however, your account does earn interest at the weekly rate listed. We're not going to probably ever avail ourselves of that, but we can, because we're not going to be playing long enough, I don't think, to take out our deposit. But in theory, we could deposit money and earn interest on it. Next, something that is completely inaccurate. Right here, it mentions the fact that stats may vary from 3 as a minimum, check, to 18/200 as a maximum. We have a strength of like 24 or 23 or something. So whether this was the original, maybe the original game had 18/200 and now they've modified it so you can go to like 23, 24, or if the game is somehow, maybe our game has an error in it and we have 23 dexterity, which really counts as 5 dexterity or something, I don't know. Like maybe it's another wraparound error or something, and I don't know. But the stats it gives here, the parameters are not the same as what we've experienced in game. Incidentally, we mentioned we know, of course, that the tech manual is the equivalent of spells. Yep. We know that the prayers are prayers. You need wisdom to get more prayer points. You need intelligence or resources for prayers. You need intelligence to get more resources for tech manual, which was what we're using. But there is that third tech manual for thieves or the con artists in this game. For them, the charisma score gets you your resources. So I think that's really neat to mention, because most Moria variants and even Angband variants, charisma is very much not a particularly important characteristic. And to be perfectly honest, for our character, it's still not. It'll get us a few discounts on items, that's about it. But for some characters, it could be a really prime attribute. So that's pretty interesting to note. The soldier, as far as I can tell, by the way, I looked down here, a soldier is a warrior, a wrestler / scientist combination, which is the same in Moria as a fighter / mage combo, which is a ranger. That jibes as well with it. Mentions the fact that the soldiers are the best with ranged weapons and throwing. So essentially, although I didn't know it, we're playing a ranger. If this was Moria, that's the corresponding character class that we are playing. Computer efficiency, we figured that out on our own, that the different computers have a better chance of not destroying your disk at the end of the usage thereof. Apparently the odds of your disk surviving usage ranges from 1% with the shittiest computer, that's a VIC-20, to 70% with the best computer. And we actually have them listed here mostly. VIC-20 has a 1% chance of surviving your disk. The laptop has a 10%, mini computer 30%, mini supercomputer has 50%, matrix computer has 70%. What is missing on this list, of course, is our mainframe. Our prune juice mainframe is not on this list, so I have no idea what a percentage is. I don't even know if it's better than if it's between a mini computer and a mini supercomputer, or if it's between a mini supercomputer and a matrix computer. I don't know. But there you go. What else do I know? I'm almost through this list. There actually is, if you go to the help file here, there actually is a weapons damage list. The one thing we complained about most was absent data, re the weapons. And although I would prefer it in-game to having you go to a help file, it is here. If you want to know, we're using a katana which does 6d4 damage, i.e. 4 to 24 damage. When we started with an aluminum baseball bat, which did 3d6, i.e. 3 to 18. So we're definitely more damage now. The highest damaging item in the game is a battle axe, which does 10d4. We've seen one of those laying around once. But yeah, our 64 katana is doing all right. I'm skeptical as to whether or not you get multiple attacks if your strength and dexterity are high enough with lighter weapons. I don't know. Unless our katana is just sufficiently weighty that we will never get there. It is 150 pounds after all, versus a hammer, which is like 15 pounds. So I don't What else can I tell you? There's also an armor list. Tells you exactly how much armor typically things have. Incidentally, there's also a digging implements list. Yes, a sturdy shovel, pickaxe, jackhammer, diamond-tipped drill. In that order are the 4 best digging implements. Admittedly, the jackhammer does more damage if you're using it as an actual weapon in combat, but who the fuck uses their digging implement as a weapon in combat? So, diamond-tipped drill is the best of the bunch. And it's also actually lighter than the shovel. So if we get a chance to find a diamond-tipped drill or pick one up, we should take it. I think we saw one in the dungeon before. We should definitely grab it up. It's better than the shovel, hands down. Has a tunneling ability of 5 versus the shovel, which has 1. I think ours would have 3 because of the pluses, but, you know, still, diamond trick drill is where it's at. Here's all the different armors. We are wearing the second best armor class armor in terms of our breastplate. That's the electrically powered armor. There is such thing as nuclear powered armor, which has better defense and lower weight. The weights given here are incidentally incorrect. It mentions the fact that the electrically powered armor weighs 300, when in our experience it weighs 380, according to what unless I'm misremembering or unless I misread it. Steel helmet is the best helmet you can get in terms of defense. Football helmet is the second best. That's what we have right now. The shiny new boots is not even listed, so I have no fucking clue. Pair of combat boots is the best listed here. Raincoat is, of course, the only cloak. Black leather gloves, gauntlets are the best there. The best shield is a large riot shield, in terms of defense, of course, not counting other things. Alright, what else we know? Rare armor. We did see the Quethleg armor earlier. Officially, Quethleg, if you want to know. It's some sort of nightmare armor that even gives a bonus to hit when attacking. So it gives you a plus to hit. What else? There is that one window that we cannot get to in the office building. I'm thinking it did mention somewhere in here that that there is a News Incorporated Limited. It mentions the 4 different things in the office building, and one of them is news. I'm thinking that doesn't work. Maybe it used to access the internet, or maybe it used to access a website like that doesn't exist anymore. But for whatever reason, we go to that window and it doesn't do anything. I think it's supposed to provide us with some sort of news about the game, or maybe in game, and it does not do so anymore. Or maybe it never did, and it was meant to do that. We have a time limit. We have implemented the long-promised time limit to the game. You have 100 games, 100 game days, subject to change, before the boss takes over the world and you lose. We're on like day 6, and as far as I can tell, we're getting close to the end. I'm hoping New York is after Detroit. Geographically, we're definitely traversing east, so we should be getting there soon. Michigan's damn close to New York State, so unless we stop off in Maine or something first, maybe New York's next. Again, how the fuck I know all this shit about the states, I don't know. What else do I know? One more thing it mentioned is a capital Q question mark, pardon me, capital Q to toggle question more. It lists that under, also don't forget about these useful commands. Q to toggle question more. We should try that. I don't know what the fuck it does. What is the last thing I have? It did mention that the boss is trying to... Well, you know what? I'm going to read you this last bit. I promise you after this we'll dive back into the game. It is a few paragraphs, but it's not that long, and at least it gives us some details about the game we wouldn't otherwise have. And it is in this summary. The game of Boss places you in the role of vigilante on a quest for truth, justice, and the American way as you gather knowledge and power so that you may defeat the boss, an evil and powerful underworld figure who lurks in his lair, skulking like a rat, somewhere deep under the surface of the earth where good and pure mortals live their lives. The boss is bad. He has no shame and no honor. The boss is a coward and keeps himself protected by hiring all sorts of street scum to guard him. It is your task to defeat these underlings who protect him, to penetrate his defenses, and confront him in his underground lair, a veritable city under the earth. Your lowly and wimpy character will start his or her trek in Seattle, the Emerald City. I didn't know instantly that Seattle was called that. I looked it up and it was like the City of Dreams was the official motto or tagline for Seattle that I could find online. When I was trying to find a title for the first episode, I was thinking maybe I'll use that. But then I settled on what I settled on. There you should purchase all the things that you will need to survive the trials and travails that await you. You are given some basic amenities, and if you're gutsy, you can survive on these mere items. The pits under Seattle are rumored to be about 10 levels deep, extending a half-kilometer under the city. At the deepest level of the city, you will find one of the boss's major henchmen. After defeating him, and when you fell confident that you are ready for the next stage of your quest, you can then catch a bus to the next town a little further east, and a little further into the boss's demesne. That's how I pronounce that word. It's only Demense. Demense? I've always said demeans, or demeans. Being closer to him, things will be more dangerous. Occasionally you will see the carcass of a fellow vigilante whose luck was not so good. I don't know if I've noticed that. Maybe I have. Yeah, we found a few skeletons of Jarwangians in that. Your travels will eventually lead you to New York City, the very heart of the boss's territory. Things are rough in New York and even rougher underneath. Because the boss is such a spineless coward, the pits under New York are especially deep. Okay, we know all that. It is common, if unacknowledged publicly, knowledge, that the boss has joined forces with factions from 3 alien races, the Jarwangians, hey, that's my race, the Vogons, and the Daisyians or Daisyians. The Jarwangians are more or less nice guy aliens and have been duped or drugged into the boss's servitude. The Vogons, well, nobody really likes the Vogons anyway, not even the boss, so even he hires relatively few of them. The Daisyians are just plain really mean. Daisyians have no remorse, no compassion. They are completely without feeling. They would just as soon beat up their aging grandmother as you, and probably have already done so. Rule number 1, unless you're looking for trouble, don't, in asterisks like italicized, mess with a Daisyian. Of course, rule number 1 is pretty useless because the Daisyian will probably come looking for you anyway. We've killed tons of them, and while they have been among the tougher enemies we've faced, none of them have been prohibitively tough so far. The boss isn't content with simple association with extraterrestrials, however. He has also hired an elite corps of scientists, well, not so much hired as blackmail, but that's the boss for you, to perform genetic experiments on poor hapless victims in the aim of creating a master race of accounting executives who would then infiltrate the entire world's banking system and make the boss the richest man on the planet. Note that the boss is no fool. This is important, maybe. Note that the boss is no fool. He didn't get to his position of power and prestige by being a fool. He will be aware of you and will occasionally exert his influence to cause strange and unpleasant things to happen. You will perhaps think they are accidents, but be warned, they are not. Now, we did encounter one time that stands out in my mind, when I had no corresponding cause, but suddenly it said you fall asleep and you wake up, and we were 2 levels down, lower than we were. And we were teleported 2 levels down. I'm guessing that was such an accident. So, i.e., this game seems to have introduced events. Events occur in Caverns of Daisyian 2 as well, but I don't think I've just seen random things that happen that then influence your play. In any other roguelike that I can think of offhand, not in this context. I'm sure there are examples and exceptions, but not in this way. So I think it's pretty neat that can happen. This is the last little bit. Time is short. Potential hero rumors are afoot that the boss's plans are drawing to a close. Time is not short. We get a fucking 100 days. And within 3 or 4 months or so, they may reach fruition. Actually, no, they may reach fruitation, which I don't think is a word, but if it is, I apologize. This would be a death knell for freedom and justice everywhere. Do not waste time. Good luck, brave vigilante. The causes of freedom and justice, too, are resting upon you. The only other thing I'll mention, that it mentioned somewhere in here, is that, it's just a game. So if you lose your level 40 con artist, don't worry about it. Just roll up a new character. We're level 25 or so, so the fact that you can reach level 40, or it's implied that you can reach level 40, may give us an indication of how far we have yet to go. Okay, that's it. Let's dive back in. I'm still tired, man, but I'm gonna give this a shot. I should have backed up my save file in case there's a fucking power outage. Hey, load. Our quality is dizzy. Normally we're alien, but our quality right now is dizzy. We still have infravision of 8 meters. I was wondering if there was another event perhaps that changed our race, because quality is really a race. Or the equivalent thereof. But maybe not. We still have the infravision, so maybe it's just a temporary thing. I don't know. If so, I don't know why we're dizzy. But here we are, 350 meters under the earth, heading for the Detroit mob boss. And you can see it up there above soldier. It says dizzy. Is that going to stay? Is that... I forgot to... Give me a second, guys. I got to plug in my damned... I'm sorry. I got to plug in my damned... thing. Eject this fucking thing. Oh yeah, it's ejected. And plug in the number pad. Wow, what a long opening to this episode. Hopefully you found it informative and entertaining, at least until now. Alright, here we go. The mutant gorilla, that's new. It hits us back, but we killed it. Let's take a look around. We're looking for, a drill, a better computer, all kinds of things we're looking for. The de-energizing bat. I'm tempted to put on something cursed and then use Demagnetize and see if that works. Just to be 100% certain. It doesn't outright say that's what it is, but it said you have to demagnetize something to remove it. Why they use Demagnetize in, for one one explanation of what you're doing, and then you use unstick for another explanation is beyond me, and I think it's a little dangerous to mix up your terminology like that. Look at what that is in a second. This is probably the guy who hit it with a lightning bolt. He makes our brain bleed, but that doesn't appear to like lower our intelligence or anything. It's just a damaging attack. We're at negative 26,624, by the way. Let's kill this Mind Flayer and see negative 26. 471, is that right? Is that higher or lower? I've already lost track. Fuck, I'll check again in a minute. If our experience is counting down, then we're certainly going to lose this game because we will run out of, we won't be high enough level. But maybe not. Let's see. I'm going to write it down for myself. Negative 26471. Fuck. I don't know. Let's kill this guy and we'll have a better understanding. Mutant Walrus. I am the Walrus. Cuckoo cuckoo. Okay, good. We're at 26458, so it is counting up. Okay. We're fine. I panicked for nothing. That was confusion. Confusion, right? Not cure confusion. Yeah, we don't want that. Arcade tokens. Oh, that's up north. Skinny ray gun is sinking cloud. We really don't need it. It's not going to be effective for us as a tool. Let's explore the whole level. We need to fucking level up, I guess, to level 40-ish. Assuming we still can. Even though we see that the numbers are counting the right way, we don't know for sure if they're going to do what we need them to do and level us up. Roving Whirlpool. I think V does substitute for elementals in the old game. They're all swirly things, vortexes and whirlpools and shit. It surrounds us. Let's keep an eye on what's going on here. And it hits us. Okay. Nothing that we have to really worry about yet. We can kill it. Oh, yeah, we did. As a matter of fact, we did. Let's just fucking cast some light every once in a while so we know where you've been. It'll help keep things clear as well. Do MAF as well. I'm still operating on the assumption that our both our spell points being borked and our experience being borked is an error, and not some weird other thing. I guess we can tell where we've been already. Actually, it does keep the outline of the walls. That's how tired I am. I forgot how basic Moria works. A couple of potions we can check out. Look. That's not a quartz vein. Look east. Don't want it. We've seen silver and speckled potions of constitution and shit, so I don't know, man. Again, we have really weird repeated changing of descriptors, MBA, MBA, okay. Restore resources. We don't need that. Let's drop something else. Let's drop M for a second. And pick up this. Let's try mixing. Shift M. Start with which potion? Let's mix a potion of resist cold. And mix it with what potion? Restore resources. You successfully mix the two potions together. You've created a metallic purple potion of restore charisma. Congratulations. Alright, I mean, we don't need it. But cool. Let's try and pick up this one. And let's try mixing restore charisma and restore dexterity. L with M. The mixture dissolves into the air. Okay, well, fair enough. Nonetheless, let's pick up a potion of blindness and a potion of... Let's try mixing those. Apple juice mixed with blindness will obviously be a potion of strength. A cloudy potion of resist heat. Holy fuck, eh? Like, we've been missing out on this the whole time. It's kind of a neat little system. I've never seen that in the Moria before. I assume there's a random element to it, and I do not know. You're surrounded by a brown light. I can't even envision that. I don't know, of course, if it's capable of making particularly powerful potions. But from now on, whether we find a bad potion or a good potion, we're just gonna start fucking mixing them, unless it's a potion I really, really want. Maybe sooner or later we'll make something we really want. That's kind of exciting to think about. With our 19 intelligence, I think that's with the influence. I think the higher your intelligence, the better the chances your potion mixing will work. All right, what do we care? Can't carry that much weight. We don't want that. I wonder if you can mix an empty beer bottle. Let's try mixing with what potion? Resist heat with confusion. We created the same thing we started with. Let's pick up the beer bottle and find out if you can mix it. Mix. Nope, not that. Mix, starting with K. K. No, you can't. It's not a potion. It may look like a potion on the ground, but it's not a potion. Where'd it go? Okay, what am I thinking? Yeah, we're definitely gonna get rid of some of these coupons soon. They're just weighing us, like, they're just taking up space. I guess weighing us down a bit, probably not much. Scruffy Hermit. Thanks for the nickels. A green Daisyian Cadet. These are new. I don't think we've seen green before. And we've been warned to really be cautious around these things. But I feel confident. Perhaps stupidly so. Oh, we got it. Alright, let's mix. Okay. With what? With M. A gold-spotted potion of haste self. We're keeping that, baby. This is really interesting. And useful, and I wish I'd realized it long before I got to this stage of the game. It's not that I didn't realize it; it was told to us. We even in the frequently asked questions, or even in even on this page, it tells you that. No, it says Shift M. Yeah, that's right. No, it doesn't tell you on this page. Sons of bitches. Interesting. Creeping pennies. Might be almost time to go down, man. We're running out of places to explore in this direction. I guess we can always go the other direction. Especially now we know about this potion thing. It's like, fuck, everything is useful to us. Let's try a little further. Let's try and head a little further, you know, afield here to the east. If such a thing can be done. MAD, MAF. We haven't been up there yet because there's a trap up there, so let's go up there. Look. Look. You'll occasionally hear me. My wife comments on the frequency with which I suddenly say phrases in a specific tone of voice. And she knows I'm quoting something, but she usually doesn't know what because I'm nearly a decade older than her. And I also grew up with American programming because I was across the river from Detroit, and she grew up with Canadian programming. So a lot of our childhood references are not in alignment. And this in particular actually predates me by far, but you've heard me now, I guess, a few times say "look" in that particular tone of voice, which is a really obscure reference to a Little Rascals episode called "The Kid from Borneo," when Spanky is trying to distract. It's a very racist episode, but he's trying to distract the person he thinks is his Uncle George, but he also thinks he's a cannibal. And every time he tries to distract him, he uses the word "look" and points, and he uses that phrase, that tone of voice, "look." So that's what you've been hearing me quote every once in a while. The Black Daisyian Lieutenant. Let's keep an eye on our damned health here. Actually, let's back off one. No, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It claws us. So we can go 4, it looks like. And it bites us. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back off. This thing takes a hell of a hit. Killed it. Detect treasure, don't need. We could use it, of course, to find out about shit in the walls and stuff, but it's not even worth my time to dig all that stuff out of the walls. We got lots of money. Let's use it once. Whatever. Drop something. Let's drop. Let's read O. Alright. Let's drop O. Let's read P. Computer used the discs. Didn't even work that time. Pick back up this for the sake of it. And let's go see what that is. What is it? Ooh, that was worth it. Drop O. Read P. Your raincoat glows. Yeah, we got a bit of improved... no, it would have. In theory, but it didn't. Gauntlets. It's not really working these days. That one worked, though. Looks like we improved the armor class of our Daisyian power armor. Alright, we're going to go left again in a minute, but let's do this for a second. We'll go that way in a second. Remember those, that staircase up / trap represents an area we haven't been yet. There is another side to that wall, but I can't get there from here. Light works differently in this game, in VMS Moria, too, or perhaps just in Boss, than it does in Moria. In Moria, it, I didn't see what that was. I didn't see what this said. Oh, we gotta eat. A tin of sardines. You're full. It lights up just a room that you're in, or one square around you or something if you're not in a room. Here it lights up a giant section, regardless of what walls are in the way. Like it's just blanket. It carpet bombs a section in light. Let's do MAF again, by the way. And MAD. Creeping dimes. Oh, I thought it was a G for some reason. Why I misinterpreted the 8s when they're so... red drooling bat, that was new. So common as a G, I don't know. Dealt with these many a time. Dropped a lot of money, hopefully. 3, 6, 12. 15 bucks, that's not a lot of money. Not when you're trying to buy nuclear-powered armor. It's not probably 15 bucks ain't gonna go a long way in any world for that. Rude and nasty short guy. We've seen one of those before. Small spider, that's nothing new. Lead pipe, I don't care about. I mean, it might be interesting to pick it up. Oh, got something invisible there. To see if we can get the multiple hits out of it. But I'm going to switch to my new katana when we get back to base and we can power it up a bit. I'll probably switch to it. If I find a scroll of, or no, floppy disk of enchant weapon, I'll probably switch to the new one at that point, because it's it's blatantly going to be better ultimately, because it has one extra power the other one will never have, and yet it's every bit as good in every other way. So, seems to me like a wise move. Nothing detected by MAF. A lot of Spiderbots follow me up here or something. Frenzy Spiderbot shoots lightning at you. Let's get these things before they replicate out of control. They do take a couple of hits, surprisingly. Crude dude, drop some money. I've seen one of these before, at least, maybe two. I think it's our third. Don't want sweats. A message we have not yet received in this. We occasionally get messages. Maybe that's even the boss intervening. I don't know. Maybe every time you see one of those messages is. Maybe not. It's probably can drain our experience. Let's just avoid it altogether. There was also a fucking thing that we just hit. What was that? Look north. Dart trap. Did we, let's see if any of our stats are down. No, all our stats are maxed. But that does tell me I didn't MAF, so let's do that. It can drain. It drains allegedly resources from us, which means it's probably the equivalent of grape jelly. I'm definitely not going to mess with it. I just don't feel like losing experience right now. A white Daisyian lieutenant can't be as bad as the black one, can it? Does a mind trick on us? Misses us. Misses us. Once again, 4 seems to be the magic number for this guy. In terms of how many times we can attack. Whoa, he got us scared. Let's go, we're not scared anymore. Let's go get these peas. They replicate. They may have replicated out of control to the point where you have to flee. I'm not sure if we're at that stage yet. We're probably getting close. As long as one remains, there's too many. Alright, now let's go with the... Oh, he does the mind trick on us. He claws us. We're okay. Uh-oh. I think we have a problem, guys. I think we have a serious problem. I think this game is a lost cause. I'm noticing now, yeah, our experience is negative 22865. Experience needed is negative 24056. We bypassed the experience we needed, which I was hoping. We started at like negative 28,000. I was hoping when we hit that number, of course, we would we'd level up, but we have not, which may mean that we are incapable of leveling further. I am going to continue playing nonetheless. But I am going to start diving fast because what that suggests to me is that no matter how well we play, we're definitely going to lose. If you talk about a level 40 character in the help file and we're stuck at level 25, you know what we're going to try in 1 second? Actually, we're going to try it right now. I'm going to quaff a potion to restore life levels and see if that does anything. Jay, you feel your life energies returning. Come on, baby. Now our experience is way up there, but unfortunately our experience needed has not changed. I mean, it helped half the equation. Somehow we had lost like 50,000 experience. It must, obviously it's an error. It shouldn't even say it's probably an error. It's a fucking error of some sort. Just what sort, I don't know. But maybe we can win despite this. Let's give it our old fucking college try. Oops. We don't want to drop that. We want to mix. Mix. A potion of brine. No, we don't want to. Let's just hold on to it to find something else to mix with. At the very least, we've learned a lot about the game. But yeah, I'm a little brokenhearted at that. I mean, in some ways, it's just desserts. We presumably got an error that worked in our favor when we have the spell points that are just out of control, our resources. Well, whatever. It is what it is. We can only play the game as it's presented to us, so we will do that. We'll play it as is and hope that as is. Let's do a fucking spell that, you know, hurts a lot of people. B, maybe? I don't think Flamethrower will do it, but let's try it anyway. Nope. How about MD? No, we don't have it. It didn't work, rather. MC? Does Killer Snowball affect more than one guy? Nope. How about Nerve Gas again? We can try. Unless Nerve Gas is like unparalyze yourself or something. Because it didn't seem to do anything, did it? We don't have that here anyway. We want, I don't fucking know. Let's just kill them manually. Great. Alright, we got that fixed. Let's just pass our turn. Fuck. No, let's go up here. I saw a P. I can't afford these guys to keep replicating. Let's try and get this... fuck, fucking another pigeon. No, greedy guy. Greedy little guy. Let's attack him. You know what I might do right now? Even though I don't think it's going to work. Let's try... Oh, our experience is back to negative 32,000. I mean, the good news there is it gives us a second chance to try to get to the needed experience level, but obviously it's just fucked up. I was going to say let's try saving the game and coming back in now that our experience is the right level. Maybe it'll auto-adjust the needed experience, but I don't think that's going to happen. Drop L. Well, all we can do is continue. And try our best. Let's just dive. Let's find the closest staircase and dive. Avoiding this grape gel. I mean, there's a chance that having our experience drained, a level drained, would reset our experience and the experience needed is possible. I don't necessarily believe it to be the case. Let's fight this thing. If it happens to drain our thing, then so be it. But I'm not gonna deliberately stand next to it and let it do it. All right, we killed it. In the meantime, maybe something will drain our fucking experience and it'll make the magic difference to set us back on course. But I remain skeptical. Raging Bull is hard to kill for some reason. Alright. Con artist. I'm really bummed. I was quite enjoying this game and looking forward to winning it on the first try. Although if this error exists, I don't know if I'll ever play the game again because it's just such a serious bug. And obviously it's not going to get repaired. Unless somebody knows of a more recent version of the game. You know, 2.4b is what we're playing. If 2.5 exists and specifically addresses this error, I'd love to know it. You fell through a trapdoor. That's fine. I was looking for a staircase anyway, so screw you. Alright. Green Daisyian Lieutenant. Let's get this guy first. He throws a gas grenade at us. Well, that solves that, doesn't it? Apparently a Green Daisyian Lieutenant is, semi-equivalent to a fucking multi-hued dragon, maybe? Or a green dragon, perhaps? Maybe they're the equivalent of dragons. And we didn't take them as seriously as we should have. I had no indication they were that tough. Well, there we go. I saw the... I was pressing space to let it take its turn. So I literally provoked it. Pressing space to let it take its turn, and I saw the dead screen flash by. Enter our name? I guess for the high score list? Jeff. I once again saw something pass there. Let's just go to the... I'm going to fire up boss again really quick. Yeah, you can't... obviously, we can't restore the game, but also we can't access a high score screen. So I guess that's it. Well, we got like fucking 12 episodes out of that, so that was a lengthy run. My final thoughts on the game, which I didn't expect to be offering right now. It had a lot of promise. It was interesting. It was fun. There are obviously some serious bugs, mostly in the form... The ones I'm thinking of are the one with the resources that got apparently screwed up, and obviously the one with the experience that got screwed up. Given the fact that it's not a... There's no history of this game. You can't access somebody else's playthrough, aside from mine, I guess, now. The only playthrough on the net. As it is the case with many of the roguelikes we look at, including Alex Hangband, as far as I know. I had no way to prepare for the idea that the Green Daisyian Lieutenant could instantly kill us. It can, for the record, so know that going forward. I did take the time, though, as we went through to write down some things, because it would be very easy, errors aside, it would be very easy to dismiss this game as a simple retheming of Moria. And it is more than that. Let's start with that. It is, of course, a reskinning/retheming of Moria. There is, you can see right on this page, obviously, we're not doing dwarves and elves, we're doing, like, elite, hefty, sexy alien. In my case, a sexy alien. So... There's a different feel to it. Obviously, the robots and the aliens and that kind of thing. There is some humor to it as well, and I want to. That's the least of its qualities, though. I want to mention that, though, because it is worth mentioning. I started a thought process in an earlier episode, and I don't think I finished it. But saying that it's funny because it is an ASCII game. We're just looking at the same goddamn white graphics we would look at in Moria, and yet it felt intrinsically different to me because my imagination produced different images, I guess. So kind of cool. But there are some innovations this thing brought to the table. Obviously some deficiencies as well, but let's cover the innovations first at least. The fact that there's multiple cities and dungeons, not just one deep dungeon, is pretty freaking cool. There's more stores than there is in Moria. There's at least, is it 12 here versus 6 in Moria, or maybe it's 9 here? There's, I think, 3 more here than there is in Moria. There's the Black Market, the Thieves Guild, and I think Kmart as well is not quite the same, because you have the general store, sure, which is basically what the plus sign is. But Kmart is kind of a hybrid between the general store and something else. So 3 different stores, that's kind of cool. The fact that there is a Thieves Guild as well, where you have to actually search for the door to get in. That was innovative. I've never seen that in any version of Angband or Moria or anything that I can think of. The conversion of scrolls to floppy disks on its surface would be very simple. They could have just renamed a scroll a floppy disk, which is probably what they started doing, and left it at that, but they didn't. You now have the addition of the computers, which you need to read the scrolls or read the floppy disks. On top of that, the fact that the computers are different levels and have different fail rates and different weights is really an innovation, again, I've never seen in any version of Moria or Angband. That was really kind of cool. The varied dungeon design. Moria has, I know from experience, having done 158 episodes on it, straight up, it's just got square or rectangular rooms attached by curving corridors. That's it. Every level is designed the same way. It's a super fun game, but there's no variation in how the levels are designed. This one had that, but it also had the weird forested levels, peppered levels with dotted walls here and there. It had the ones with, kind of a cave-like gruesome design, like I mentioned before. So a lot of different designs right there. The fact that staircases can go different distances. In Moria, they always go one level. In this, they can go 1 level, 2 levels, or even 3 levels down or up. So that's pretty cool. The wallpaper we mentioned, the fact that the walls can look different. It's a minor thing, but I talked about it at the time. The fact that you're looking at an ASCII game. It's the one way you can make a level feel different, is make the walls into and signs or make them into at symbols or whatever. And the fact that they give you the option to turn that off in case it's confusing you. I think that's great. The fact that your weight doesn't affect speed is pretty interesting to me. As far as we can tell, at least, it didn't affect our speed. We didn't really have a speed annotation, so it's kind of hard to say, but I don't think it did. On the other hand, armor does subtract from your ability to hit, we found out, although it doesn't label that, so that's kind of a deficiency. The fact that the town resets every time you visit it, and that might be a function of VMS Moria, it probably is, as opposed to, U-Moria, which I'm more used to. I don't call that a plus. I think it's kind of a deficiency, but it is true that when you leave the map, whether you go in the dungeon or whether you go in the hotel, you come back out and boom, the town has rearranged itself. It's kind of interesting, if not great. The very existence of the hotel, of course, with aspects that we didn't fully decipher. Here you go, Kibbs. Kibbs wants out. The banks and loans, that area with Danny Dollar. We didn't avail ourselves of it, but that doesn't exist in any other Moria that I'm aware of. It might in Zangband, I'm not sure, a sort of loan or bank deposit thing. The ability to stay overnight and that kind of thing in a hotel, I've never seen that in Moria. I don't know what purpose it serves other than to advance the time and get you past the nighttime period, and why an overnight stay versus an hour stay, like why you want those things. What the hell the mud bath does, no idea. If you know, tell me. But it's innovative. The different jobs you can take to earn cash. Again, we never used it. We never needed to. But the fact that you can do it, advancing time to earn some cash, maybe it would have been a better way to buy some of the equipment and that kind of thing we wanted. The fact that killing townsfolk has a consequence, that you can lose experience by doing so. Fascinating. Never seen that in a Moria, and I like it. That's something I wish they would take into all the Morias and that kind of thing. I guess we've seen it in Tome 2, I think. You can get cursed by your god for killing townsfolk. I didn't like such a drastic punishment, because sometimes you do it by accident and suddenly your entire game is fucked. But cool that there is an effect. Those are the things I wrote down. I'm sure there was a lot more, and things I complained about. Deficiencies like the fact that you can't readily tell the damage of weapons in game, that kind of thing. But I think those are functions of VMS Moria versus later versions of Moria like U-Moria. Anyways, yeah, I very, very much enjoyed the game. I'm really deeply disappointed that those drastic bugs exist, because otherwise I think this would go on my definitely want to beat list. I felt like we were getting somewhere. I felt like we were doing well. Until that goddamn green Daisyian lieutenant. Anyways, that's it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed Boss. I'm not sure what I'm going to jump into next. It might be Omega. I'm tempted because a gentleman who was watching this playback requested it, and some other people have requested it in the past. I don't know a lot about it. I'm going to see if I can find some videos on it for my own self, just to learn a bit about it before diving in. And today may not be the best day to do it because I'm just not thinking straight. But there you go. That was Boss. Thanks, guys. I'm going to kill it right now. Let's just kill the window like this. And say goodbye. Say goodnight, Gracie. Gracie? Say goodnight. That's a tired am. Good night, Gracie.